What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. What's going on? Happy Monday, man. How you guys feel? What's going on? I've got an echo. Hold on a minute. This is my own fault. There you go. That's my own fault. And I'm a disgrace. I'm a cheat. There you go. It was all confused in my head. It's all confused in my head.
I tell you what it is, honestly.
Disgrace.
Tabs.
That's what it is. A disgrace.
That's the new best one. Play it to me again.
It's embarrassing. I'm sorry. Embarrassing.
No, listen. I'm telling you, Owen, Arteta went. United View needs some stuff for their soundboard. They need to update it. Let me give them the two most perfect. I need that. I need that for DR.
It's a disgrace. It's embarrassing. That's how I feel.
It's perfect, bro. It's perfect. Wait there. Run it, Owen. Run both.
It's embarrassing.
I got another one. How'd you feel this morning, Flex? After that start, how'd you feel? I'll tell you how I feel.
Honestly, I feel sick. That's how I feel. I feel sick.
It's too perfect. He's written that for us, bro. He's written that for us. Honestly, I mean, I don't feel sick right now. I actually feel all right. Just got back from the gym. I'm on my water. I'm on my protein shakes. I feel good. I actually feel good. I do not feel sick. But yes, obviously Arteta does. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know where you're watching from. Remember, you can join the membership club as well. Shout out to everyone who's been getting involved in the United View recently as well. We've got a lot to talk about this morning. Ten Hag ready to fight. We're going to talk about him just battening down the hatches, ready to turn it around. We're going to talk about as well, right? And we want to see what you guys think. Is it that bad? And I know you're thinking, oh, one win after Fulham. Don't you get gas, Flex? Don't you dare do this? No. Look at our style of play. All of the inquest. But we're just going to look at some of the things that can help us look at things from a different perspective, as well as look at where we really are at. No delusion here. But I want to talk about that. And Luke Shaw return date, because we saw what happened as soon as Wan-Bissaka came back, right? We saw the impact that he's had on the team and how positive it was. Add a Luke Shaw back into that as well in the not too distant future. That can put us on the up as well. So a lot to get into, Owen. A lot to get into.
Yes, a lot to get into, indeed. I was looking at form this morning, Flex. I was looking at form. The last 5 games for different teams and different narratives around said form. Now, I just want to... I've come prepared this morning. Yeah. You know me. Okay. I've come prepared.
Because you have to be careful with this, Owen, because if you go too mad... Just to let you guys know, if Owen goes too mad, or I do, we're stepping in. Yeah, because this we're not doing no delusion. This ain't delusion view.
No,
right?
No.
So be careful with what you put down on table here.
Okay, Man United are going to win the league.
Well, that's
No, I think that it's interesting. The narrative is quite interesting. Now, I will preface this by saying we are not playing very well. We are not playing very well.
Agreed.
We are scraping through games. I said this after the game on the full-time view on Saturday, that for all intents and purposes, that game should have been a 0-0, really. That game should have been a 0-0 against Fulham. If it had finished 0-0, we couldn't have much complaints. It was very, very difficult to watch. I'm still very much firmly behind the manager. I don't think we should get rid of him or anything like that. But it's interesting when you look at recent form of other Premier League clubs. For instance, Liverpool. The last 5 games, they have won 2, they have drawn 2, they have lost 1. They have pulled in 8 points. Manchester City, they have won 3, they have drawn 0, they have lost 2. They've brought in 9 points. Brighton, they have won 0, they've drawn 3, they've lost 2, they only have 3 points. People are saying give De Zerbi the job. Meanwhile, Manchester United have won 3, they've drawn 0, and they've lost 2. They've brought in 9 points. Actually, we've brought in the same amount of points as City. We've brought in more points than Liverpool over the last 5 games, but we are in a crisis. Thoughts on it?
Well, the thoughts on it is that we're 8th initially.
Yes.
Owen goes, yes. We're 8th. And they're on 24 points /26 and 27 respectively, right? and we're on 18. Now, it's not miles behind, but it's behind. And the start that we had, we lost a lot of points. You know, we're on the same points. We're on the same points as Brighton. You know, we're a couple of points off Newcastle, who again people wouldn't say are playing awful. I get that. We're 4 points off Villa, who again nobody's saying that, everyone's saying Unai Emery's amazing. So, look, context is everything, and this is where the United therapy that me and AV done, me and Avelina. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go back and watch it. Not now, do it later. Stay with us. This is where you do have to think of context on both sides, though, because we can't say that nothing is wrong, because essentially you look at them other teams, you look at Liverpool, you look at Arsenal, you know, even Villa, you know, Newcastle, and the way that they're playing and the way that their team is growing, they're in an ascendancy. Of form will go up and down. You're going to go through 5 games where all your boxes are green because you've won all of them. You're going to get some greys for some draws. You're going to get some reds for losses in form over the season. That is fair enough. But that's Man City coming out of a bit of a bad spell where they lost 2 on the bounce. Then they've won 3 on the bounce. And you would argue that Man City are now beginning to go on a run. In 2 more games, that's just going to be all green. So we can't look at all of that and say, see, nothing's wrong. However, I do agree that it is a reminder, though, because it doesn't mean that, oh, Man United are going to get relegated. This is why you got to sack Eric Ten Hag, because look at us in the league. Like, of course, the way we lost them 2 games was a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Drop it. Play
Disgrace.
it. Yeah.
That's what it is. A disgrace.
That's so perfect. Is that better than Ty's absolute? You're a disgrace, Rich.
Well, it's also just the other ones you.
It's embarrassing.
Oh, just drop that in. And because he's got the monotone Arteta voice, he's embarrassed.
I had to, honestly, when I was pulling them as well, I've had to raise the volume of that. He is so soft spoken. Honestly, I've had to boost that so much up.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, like, this was my point. I said this on Matchday Reloaded yesterday, that statistics can be manipulated to make any point you want to make. So, for instance, this season, there are statistics for both sides of the argument, and they're both valid statistics. So, for instance, people who are quite, anti Ten Hag and, they're not convinced by him anymore and they think we should get rid of him, blah, blah, blah. They'll point to those sort of damning statistics about it was worst start to a season in 61 years. Like, that's a big statistic, isn't it? Or going like, it's the first time we've conceded like 3 goals at home in these consecutive games since like the 1970s or something like that, or certain records against certain teams that haven't beat us for like 20 years at home, or whatever it may be, right? People will point to them and go, well, see? So that's why I always say you have to be careful. Whenever anyone posts any statistic on social media, you have to be careful, because there will always be a statistic out there to suit any kind of argument you're going to make. Now, it doesn't make it any less right or wrong. One thing I have noticed, though, and maybe this is me being a bit conspiracy theory, I know it's early in the morning for this, Flex, but I'm seeing a lot from the media at the moment that is very much let's pile in. Let's pile in. Let's pile on. And for instance, and maybe I'm sort of reading too much into it and I'm being too harsh, but I saw a post yesterday it was from BBC Radio 5 Live Sport. Good station over here. I listened to them quite a lot. And they were talking about Unai Emery and the great start he'd had, or has had, to Aston Villa. And they were saying that he's had, I think it's like 22 Premier League wins since he came in. And that's like, I think the highest out of anyone or something like that. And the comparisons they use was Pep Guardiola with 20 and Jurgen Klopp with 16. That was the 2 they used. And you go, Eric Ten Hag had 20 in that period of time there, and you've just left him off. Now, have you left him off because it's a case of, look, when you compare people to big managers in the Premier League, you just compare them to Pep and Klopp because they're the 2 most successful in the last sort of 5 years or so? Is that why you've done it? Or have you just left it off because, hey, giving Eric Ten Hag a bit of credit for, an impressive statistic doesn't really suit the narrative that's going on at the moment? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. And this is where we have to, as Man United fans, remember the pylon. You are 100% correct, because they are conveniently leaving them off that list because it doesn't fit the narrative. Because we're in a bad moment, to put him in a list that's positive, it's not conducive to how they want to portray Man United right now. It's not. So I do agree with that. I do agree with that, because at the same time, when you lose back-to-back games in the manner that we did, the scrutiny just comes in from like way in. Just, you know, get him out. He's got to go. He's got to go. And listen, I was there for both games, and it felt like that. When I did allow it to consume me, and my concerns that I do have are valid, but in the moment, it did feel like even worse than like now. Like it felt like, oh my God, I feel like I could wake up and he's going to be sacked. Like they're not playing for him. It's over. It's finished. And I'm not saying we've turned this around, because we haven't. We've got.
I was about to say, make no mistake, we are not. For instance, we have Copenhagen on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If we don't win that game, even if it's a draw, but particularly if we lose,
it's back to this.
There's no. Do you know what I mean? We are that close to it. You know what I mean? We're literally, it's result to result at this point. You know, because we are performance. Because we're not getting performances. It's result to result.
We ain't got performances ages. We are one game away from crisis. That is what we are. Just teetering on the edge of crisis versus trickling along. Because when we win, it isn't morale boosting as much as we would like it to be. Do you know what I mean? It's fair enough. Just get the 3 points in the bag. Fair enough. Just get the 3 points in the bag. Oh my God, how did we win that? But we did. That's the type of wins we're getting right now. And when we lose bad. That's the issue. We win. And I know you can say, well, how can a win be bad? But we all know what we're talking about here. Let's not be silly. We can win mundane, but we lose bad. And and so as soon as we play against any decent side, and this is no disrespect to the teams that we've beaten, because that says more about us than it does about those teams like Wolves and Forest and Brentford, who are actually a good team, doing quite well, actually. You know, the other day at Copenhagen, winning that game, Fulham. You know, it says more about us struggling against them teams than it does against those teams. Burnley 1-0. You know, these are teams that are pretty much mostly getting, you know what I mean, pammed every week. So for us, we don't win well and we lose badly. So that when you couple those things together, people are right to be concerned. You're right. You're absolutely right to be concerned. I just think, and I do agree with you, Owen, we do also need to have some sort of guard up. That's what I would say, a guard up to stuff that's like over and above the line of criticism, the stuff that just feeds into sort of overly negative, trying to force a narrative that's even bigger than the one that we already know is there. Do you know what I mean? Because that's when I think you start getting a bit disillusioned with what's going on. However, if we lose the next 2 on the bounce, the next 3 on the bounce, you know, like we did in all competitions just gone. Was it? No, 2 we lost in a row. But, you know, if we do that, then we're going to be in trouble. And the next hard game we play against a good team, probably Wednesday. You know, like I said, if we're on the wrong end of it, then we're back to square one. So I do understand it, but you are right. We do have to keep some things in context and keep calm.
Yeah, I think that sort of period of games in, when was it, September, when we were like, right, we have to win. It was in the build up to the City game. We should be winning basically every game between now and the City game. And we didn't, obviously. We had, again, defeats. We lost to Palace and we lost to Galatasaray. And it was like, man, if we're not winning these games, when we face this City, what's going to happen? And what happened is we lost very convincingly. Now we're in a sort of mini period again of that, where it's like Fulham, Copenhagen, Luton. That has to be, we've won every single game. Because even, particularly now in these next 2 games, no disrespect to either team, because I know Liverpool dropped points to Luton, but even the Luton one, it's at Old Trafford. So like, even picking up a point in any of these games, it's going to be like, you know, that's not good. So, I mean, and in fairness, Erik ten Hag did say this after the game. He was asked, you know, has the pressure subsided a little bit? And he went, of course not. Man United. It never, even if we were top of the league, and you drop points, pressure's always on, particularly now with the start that we've had this season. And as we've said over and over again, the only currency that really matters at the moment is wins. I think, if anything, if there were actually performances, say the results were largely the same at the moment, but performances were there, it'd be a bit under less pressure because you could see it. You know what I mean? You'd be able to see, go, wow, it's just the injuries or what have you. But I don't know. I've definitely noticed this with Ten Hag, and he wasn't doing this a couple of weeks ago. He is being, or I'll say leaning, but he's been a bit more open about like the facts of injuries and some things. A couple of weeks ago, he wouldn't even have said that. Now he's very much of like, well, it's so we've had injuries have been very, very difficult and very challenging for us, and he's having to explain the lack of style of player. He did after the game at Craven Cottage. Rio Ferdinand spoke to him as one of those ones on the pitch, and even Rio said to him, "Look, why is there no style of play this season? And why have you not shown any style of play?" And then Ten Hag pushed back to him and said, well, you saw it in bits and pieces last season, which is true to an extent. We did see him in bits and pieces last season, but he is adamant because of the defensive injuries that we've had this season. That's why you're not seeing a style of play. But the counter argument to that, and I think it's a very good counter argument, and it's a challenging question to answer, is fine, but why can't any of the front three score? And make chances.
Massive
concern. Because defensively, I get it with their injuries. Maybe you could say because of that, we can't play out from the back. And he even used the word pragmatic. We have to be more pragmatic. So I don't get me wrong, totally understand that. But still, why can't the front three, front four create chances? Why can't they take any of the chances? Why are big players like Bruno and Rashford just, shout? I know Bruno scored at the weekend, but make no mistake, he was still terrible in that game. Why are they shouting themselves? And I don't know if I have the answer to that one. Do you?
No, of course not. No, because that it's simple as them players ain't performing. Them players ain't performing, and there is a disconnect as well half the time with like the midfield, the defense, then the midfield and the attack. Like there is a disconnect because there's no control. We're not on teams. We're not pressing overly aggressively, really. We're not making the other team fear us. The other teams are always skeptical of us because of just by name. So they do have Bruno Fernandes there. So just by default, you always have to say, as we just seen, that something can happen at any moment if you take your eye off the ball. And that's exactly what happened to Fulham, really, let's be honest. They had a really good 90 minutes against an average Man United side. They did what they needed to do. They competed. They wasn't worried about anything. We had a bit more possession and points. Then in the midway through the second half, they had the kind of quick succession of shots and corners where you're like, I tell you what, if anyone's going to score, it's probably going to be them. We don't look like, you know what I mean? And Milana made some saves that he should make, but I'm just saying it was them kind of just probing a bit more than us in the ascendancy. And then it's getting to the 90th minute and there's 5 minutes left. And they're probably thinking, well, you know what? We're all right here. Let's just get a draw. Just defend properly. We'll be all right. And then in the one split second, that's probably like a 10-second, 15-second phase, probably. It probably starts from Palestri going at Robinson. So let's just say 30 seconds in all of just a bit of pinball and then a bit of composure from Bruno. They've lost the game. And they're going, fuck it. How have we lost that? Even before the game, I heard Marco Silva say, it does it because they're saying, is it the best time to play Man United? Like a lot of managers get asked at the moment. Good time to play them, and every manager says the same thing. Obviously we want to exploit, but it's Man United and they've got good players, so you have to be on it for the whole time. And Marco Silva, by the way, that's the last 4 times we've played them, and it's just been like emotionally draining for him. Last year at the Cottage, Garnacho scored. They were 1-0 up in the FA Cup. Then the madness happened. Then Kenny Tete scored from a corner. Then they were 1-0 up. David De Gea's last game. They ended up losing that. Mitchell missed a penalty. This game, they've done all right. Lost in a lot. He must be sick of the sight of us.
Yeah. The goal they conceded again, when you strip the sort of emotion and the sort of Manchester United bias out of it, it's a terrible goal to concede. Like if you just look at the way they defend for that goal in terms of, like you said, the ball bounces off a couple of players and then it's a clearance. I think who it is it Robinson? Like just swipes the leg at it, basically.
Yeah. Well, it might be Paulinho. I think it's Paulinho.
Paulinho. It is Paulinho, right?
He's one who runs out after.
And it's a terrible clearance, goes to Bruno, and even he has to sort of cut back a couple of times.
Then he gives a shit pass to McTominay that he can't do anything with, by the way.
And then, to top it all off, if that was Andre Onana in goal, and we'd be having massive questions because I'm telling you now, Fleck, Leno should save it. He should save it because he gets a hand to it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not complaining, but I think, again, that goal, that's almost the perfect goal to sum Manchester United up at the moment. It really shouldn't happen.
That's the best we've got.
It really shouldn't happen. It's scrappy. Yeah. It's fumbled over the line, but we'll take it because we got nothing else. And I do push back on, and maybe, because this is when we go, you've been too negative, all that. But that banner that was up the away end before the game, and it's play like you mean it. And they spoke about that a lot after the game. McTominay, we saw the banner, and I saw people, even the players on social media, play like you mean. I think even the Man United official account said, "Play like you mean it."
It did get to them,
but that's great
because they won.
That's great, but my response afterwards would be, "Did you though? Did you really? Did you really play like you meant it?" I mean, I don't know if I can fault the effort because the effort was. It's not as if
the effort was there, and defensively they were organised and they didn't concede any. We conceded a couple chances, but ones that were far enough where it's like, okay, Onana's covered. We didn't concede any chances where we went, oh my God, how did they not score? What are we doing defensively?
Well, maybe you could look at Anthony and say he didn't play like he meant it because he played terrible.
No.
But my overall point was, I don't know what's more worrying. That is playing like they meant it.
Yeah, that's shit.
Or did they just ignore the advice and just went, no, we're not.
Yeah, well, AK says it there, effort but lack of talent, / quality. I would add to that as well. And while we're on that from the chats, let's get to the super chats and the members chats if there's any. VK says it's not so bad. Sam Allardyce has 50 wins from 78 games. And Nick 1-0 at Copenhagen. So very positive from VK. Maurice says, good evening. Oh, good evening, because he's in Australia. I can see the flag there. Good evening, Flex and Owen. If Eric Ten Hag done what Arteta done, we would have had tweets, articles, call-in, would be death by media. Arteta
so right. You are honestly
before Eric Ten Hag as well, he says.
You are so right about that. It is so true and you see this all the time with things certain managers do or certain managers say. Eric Ten Hag can talk to a fourth official on the touchline and they're going, "See, behaviour." This is from Liverpool fans. I'm going, "You taking the piss?" Jurgen Klopp get booked every game. Guardiola already served a touchline suspension this season, the amount of times he's been booked. And you're so right. If Eric Ten Hag came out after the game and give it
disgrace, that's what it is, a disgrace.
If he'd have done that afterwards,
it's a disgrace, eh?
Yeah, and also as well, this is everything for all of the Arsenal fans that are crying about VAR over the weekend. First of all, like a month ago, your manager was saying mistakes happen. We need to support the refs. Bit of a turnaround. It's only a disgrace when it happens to you, apparently. Everyone had the opportunity when what happened to Liverpool happened to be like, this is unacceptable. I can speak for myself, can't speak for everyone. But even as a United fan, when that happened to Liverpool at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I said, that is so bad. And that sets such a bad precedent. I wasn't on the whole Klopp giving a replay thing because that's ridiculous. But you've got to call it air for what that is. It was shocking, absolutely terrible.
Oh, there's a new one. Sorry, quickly. There might be a new Lee Judge's soundbite as well from his fan cam again on Newcastle. Did you watch it?
I haven't seen it, no.
He goes, yeah. Eddie, done okay. Havertz, done okay. I'm fed up of just being okay. That is so Owen, you have to. Do you know what? While I maybe talk, you've got. I might have to send you a timestamp. It's so funny. Let me know in the chat if you saw the Lee Judge's special where he's like, I'm fed up of it just being okay. Hey, Havertz, done okay. Nketiah, done okay. It's so funny.
But it's true, and just to wrap that bit up though,
sorry, yeah.
is that if there's anyone that's got a gripe to complain about VAR this season, it's Manchester United, who have had the most punitive damage from VAR in the Premier League out of all 20 teams. So Arteta, be quiet, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Aminor says, Flex, I'm collecting Arsenal fans' tears, e.g. Cecil. He's collecting their tears. Oh, listen, I'm sure they've got a lot of ours as well this season. Ray, if it's a competition. Ray Carl Brown, says, this season, 4th place is not over. This league is not easy. Liverpool just need to draw. It shows if we keep the faith, United can still be in it.
Chongy.
Yeah,
Chongy.
Yeah, I know. I know. And you just kind of felt that, I didn't watch the game. Owen was messaging me at the time. As soon as he messaged me that Luton score, he's like, "Oh my god, Liverpool losing with 10 minutes to go." What? Read out what my
you're such a Debbie Downer. Every time I message him, it's Flex's fault. It's Flex's fault because honestly, you don't know how many times this happens.
I'm going on mute.
There'll be a rival or there'll be like a team that we don't like or whatever, and they'll lose, and I'll message them and I'll go, "So and so's losing," straight away. They'll come back. They'll come back. And then it got to the point, it got so toxic last season, right? Someone would concede, I wouldn't message him. I wouldn't message him because I go, every time I message you, the opposite happens.
Don't message me,
and then we agreed on this, like it was like I don't know, some kind of like peace. We went, we're not going to do this. And then sometimes they concede. He starts sending me eyeball emojis, going,
"Told you." Yeah.
No. I mean the first time before it even happens, because I wouldn't message him. I wouldn't message him. I wouldn't message you. And then you start sending me eyeball emojis, and I go, "I'm not talking to you."
What for I send you the eyeballs for the
for the first goal. So for instance, let's say like Man City concede, they go 1-0 down, and I go, "I'm not going to message Flex because they'll come back." Because every time I message him, they come back. So I refrain from messaging him, and then he starts sending me eyeball emojis as if say, "Come message me." I've actually messaged back going, "I'm not talking to you. Leave me alone."
And I know if I'm out and I'm not watching football, my phone starts going off and I see Owen, I'm going, "Oh, something's happened in that game," which I knew that's what it'd be. When he's like 10 minutes ago, instantly, I said, "They won't." What did I say? "They won't win." I think I said
something like so. Honestly,
It's embarrassing.
And then, did they win? By the way, asking.
No, they scored in the last
No,
minute.
they didn't.
But still,
and big up to Luis Diaz as well. By the way, I will say that.
Absolutely.
To play through that. With what's going on shows amazing mental strength, by the way, because that's awful what's happened to him.
It was a good game, though. I enjoyed it.
Was it a good game? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was a good game.
I saw the highlights. I watched the highlights afterwards, but I saw it. Liverpool. Fucking Darwin Núñez is weird, isn't it? It's so weird, like because he's at it and runs around and gets chances and has the most shots all the time and scores some quite difficult goals.
Yeah.
But he misses so many sitters. I don't know how he does it. I've never seen anything like it. Really, in recent years, I can't remember. The one he scored against Bournemouth was unbelievable.
That's the perfect antithesis for him because the ball comes over and his touch is horrific, so bad that the Bournemouth fans go, "Hey!"
Yeah,
slams it in the top corner.
Yeah,
and then yesterday, ball in. He's what, 4 yards out, maybe.
Right foot as well.
Yeah, and
it weren't offside.
Yeah, and that stadium, the way it is, like I don't know, even when you miss a sitter because it's so cramped in, it looks worse somehow. You know what I mean?
But as I've learnt, I was cussing Darwin Núñez last season, with AGT and saying he misses too many chances. Yep, glad we did. And then look what happened. So I ain't really trying to, like you lot say, the fleck judge. I ain't really trying to, deal with that. That's their problem. And to be fair, he still scores quite a lot. Scores more than Hoyland at the moment, doesn't he? So, Aditya says, "Hi Flex and Owen. In my opinion, our defense is not weak even with injuries. We just don't win any duels in midfield." Has Aditya got a point that actually with all the like changes that have happened at the back, we are conceding goals. But is our defense as awful as it should be for the players that have come in, i.e. Reguilon, Evans, Maguire?
Well, this is what's interesting, isn't it? Is because even in the games that we've conceded like 3, so against like Newcastle or against City or whatever, there's been sort of a general, I think, admission from everyone that actually our defense has not really been the issue. The issue has been midfield. The issue has been the front 3 or front 4. Now, it was quite interesting because I think this was in the embargoed part of the press conference, late night news every Friday. And he was basically, or it might have been in the press conference before, it doesn't matter. And he was asked about, after the Copenhagen game, Paul Scholes spoke to Ten Hag and said, you said that actually, once again, the defensive injuries are the reason your midfield is being exposed and all this kind of stuff. And Ten Hag's point of view was that because you're making these changes constantly in defense, you're not, you don't have the, what's the phrase he used? Like basically, you don't have the regular
Fluidity,
patterns,
continuity.
You don't have the regular patterns, and then in games to try and compensate for that, you make changes, but it leaves the midfield exposed and it stifles the attack or whatever. So he's very much on no, even though the defense are doing well, and they are, it's the lack of continuity in that defense that's affecting other parts. And again, I get it, but I also
you see as soon as Wan-Bissaka came back, we looked different.
Yes,
instantly. Like nobody gives us what he gives us, which I know like rival fans can say, oh, look at these, like the Wan-Bissaka's. We know like we're saying we need better than both.
Yeah.
But Wan-Bissaka is clearly our number one. There's no discussion.
And at a time where you're more exposed defensively,
you need people like him.
You need a better defender one-on-one. Because we have seen if you're any winger that's half decent and you can get Diogo Dalot one-on-one at several points throughout the game, you'll know like I can get past him.
Get change out of him,
yeah. Whereas Wan-Bissaka, you go, hey, it's going to be a difficult one for me today. So that's why he's just as important at the moment, Wan-Bissaka, because there's going to be a lot of one-on-ones. There's going to be, and let's face it, in front of him on that right-hand side, you have no idea what you're going to get to. I know the whole thing is, Anthony, defensively, Anthony ain't doing shit.
No, Joe Blackman, let's get a few comments read out from members, the rest of the super chats, and people just in the chat as well. Everybody's involved. Joe Blackman says, our forwards and midfield is a bigger problem than the defense, 100%. Big up Rich. Good show last night as well, Rich. Well done, bro. Says, Wamby also looks so much sleeker on the ball. Great pass and movement. What else have we got here? Ryan says, as bad as we are and as good as Arsenal are, the table doesn't lie, Flex, with the eyes.
Does the table lie?
In some ways, yes, but by the end of the season, never. No. Like, but it's what you take from it, i.e., so when we finish second, there can be caveats. It means you deserve to finish second in that year, no matter what happens in 38 games. You accrued more points than all the people below you, so you deserve to finish second. But to go and say that means we're now better than you, and next season it means this and that, because there can be so much caveats, injuries, rebuilds, new manager taking time. There's so many other things. So
the few times we finished seconds, like under Mourinho,
it hasn't meant anything.
Were we the second best team in the league?
No, exactly. And that's why tables, if you try to take too much from a table, it can lie. I think if you take it for what it means, which is in these 38 games, this team accrued the second most points. That's why they finished second. That's all it means. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that they're heading in a better direction than you, because you could have finished third, 4 points behind. But everybody knows that the team that finished third, 4 points behind the team that was in second, is going places quicker than the team that's in second. Do you know what I mean?
Like when Arsenal finished fifth the season before last, I think most people knew coming into next season, like they'll get top four. They're looking in a good direction because they finished the season really strong. Or like Liverpool last season, they finished fifth, but everyone kind of knew this season, like they're kind of back at it.
And we said in it, if there was 4 more games, we would have been in trouble. Big trouble. Big trouble. We stumbled over the line. So yeah, to answer your question, it's what you take out of it. Jaden, been a member for 14 months, says, for me, the fact that we can't see a clear style of play is enough to be worried. I am still Eric Ten Hag, I think, behind Eric Ten Hag, but we really need to see a style of play developing. Descendant of the first crackhead, been a member for 16 months, says, what's going on, guys? Been a while. It has been a while. I haven't seen you here for a little bit. Good to see you're still a member, though. 16 months deep, so big up to you. Hope you're all good. We are, thank you. Big up the channel, big up the fans. Let's stay the course and back the man them. Yeah, get behind the team, get behind the players, get behind the manager. And AK says, get the Europa League intro ready, Fleck. Do we need to get the Europa League? Yeah, speaking of that.
Well, no, I don't want to speak about that. I don't want to talk about the Europa
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. No, I don't want to
talk about it. I was going to say, speaking of the members, shall I do something just a bit crazy this morning, Flex? Shall I just right now? Shall I just release a new episode of UV Raw for the members?
Yeah, do it.
I'll just do it. I'll just do it now. All right, cool.
Just Just press go, press send.
Yeah.
Press,
You know, and
press
I was
public.
obviously, you know, at the moment, I wouldn't say watch it now, but it's there for
No,
you afterwards. You know what I
no,
mean?
because don't
Straight
watch it
after
right
this.
now because there is just under 1,200 of you as well and 163 likes. So please smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Nearly 1,200 watching, which is great for a Monday morning. But 164 likes out of that, I'm sure we could do a lot better. Big up to everyone watching. We need another UV Members Club chat with you guys, says Kristen. That's a good one. Yeah, actually, we can put one of them in. Put one of them in the diary. And Garnacho offered more against Fulham than Rashford did for a long time, says Andres. And Jason says, Alexa, play. I don't want to say it too loud for my Alexa downstairs goes off. Alexa, play Europa League Struggle by Flex and KG. Yeah, that's where we are. We are there. We are there. The next thing.
It's a whopper as well. The next UV episode. The next UV episode, I think, is a UV Raw episode, is one of the best ever. And what it is, right, is the debate. The debate inside the control room at UVHQ, which is who is the fussier eater? Is it Owen
that one.
or is it Josh? And I tried some spicy rice also as well. Oh,
Yeah, that was funny actually. There's that's why UV Raw is good. It's just complete behind the. A lot of the time, nothing to do with Man United. Just when you guys think, how do these guys just keep making content? What happens when they're not on the camera? How do they just? It's all of that and everything else in between. So yeah, enjoy, members, enjoy. We've got like the best part of 250 members, I think. So 260 odd, 300 odd members. So yeah. Enjoy. David G says, do you feel the days of playing a right-footed winger and a left-footed left winger are the reason Anthony always plays right and offers balance? Facundo won't play. This is David G. Thank you for the super chat. I mean, inverted wingers is just such a modern day thing, isn't it, really? It never used to be like that. You know, when you're talking 4-4-2, traditionally, I know Ronaldo sort of came in, and started breaking that mold. But traditionally, right foot has played on the right, left foot has played on the left. That's just how it's always been for a long time. I think when football started moving to 4-3-3 or just 3 out attackers sort of thing and wingers as opposed to right midfielders or left midfielders, we did start to see the inversion a lot, didn't we? And now it's almost like that's just the default.
What do you think about the evolution of football? Because I saw this yesterday on social media. That someone was showing like clips of like the Premier League from sort of 2005, 2006 and these goals. And essentially it was one of those posts where it's like, remember a time where it wasn't a tactical chess battle and it wasn't there an insistence on playing out from the back and you weren't worried every time you scored a goal that it was going to be ruled out. And sometimes I look at those posts and I say, well, rose-tinted glasses, that's very much back in my day it was better. And make no mistake, 20 years ago, football was far from perfect and there were still very much things that needed to be fixed. But have we gone too far? Do you think with tactics? Have we gone too far with, technology and VAR and all that kind of stuff?
I'm going to sound like the victim, Mel-Jude, but because I've always been like this. And I think, I think we have. I think obviously like anything in life, it evolves. I've got no problem with that. I've got no problem with things becoming more modern, whether that's music, entertainment, sport. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. Like day-to-day life, technology, and it just in general, what you do, things you use, gadgets. Oh, and I'm not against that. But in terms of football, there is far too much on like these intricacies. There's a thing called a field tilt now. Like, get out. Like, seriously, get in the bin. There's a thing called a field tilt. And you can look at it and go, well, there's more red on the bottom. So, we actually played better than you. Shut up. Look at your eyes. Look at what happened in the game. And the XG thing as well. Look, listen, I get it. If you use it to tell you certain things, there can be a pattern. But again, I only need my eyes. And it sounds, condescending, or it sounds, oh, look at this guy stuck in the Barclays Premier League era, the Carling Premier League,
Premiership,
the Premiership, the Barclays Premiership. Look at this guy stuck there, and the FA Carling Premier League. If you want to go back further than that,
the Premiership.
Yeah, I sound like but for me, I think players back then had to be multifunctional. There wasn't about being specialists. You playing 4-4-2. It's about winning individual battles all over the pitch at all times. It's not about protection and, you know, a few can gang up because the tactics allow it now and stuff like that. I think caliber of players, you know, accountability. You know, if you're looking at like players like back in the day, Rio, Terry, Sol Campbell, Adams, you know, top centre halves back then, they're playing 4-4-2 up against 2 strikers every single game. That's my opposite number. I've got to dominate him. I ain't going to get protection from a sitting holding midfielder who's just going to sit in front of me and screen me and protect all day long. Of course, as football evolved, it started to happen. I'm not saying that. But in midfield, I've got to be able to tackle. I've got to be able to get forward. I've got to be able to pass properly. I've got to be able to head properly. I've got to be able to shoot. I've got to be able to do a bit of everything because that's on me. Do you know what I mean? That's what Roy Keane did.
It sounds like an Ollie's going to social press
Yeah,
conference.
well, listen, I like that.
Shoot.
I like
You'll be
that.
ahead. You've got to be able to
You've got
pass.
to be able to do everything. Not, I'm a centre mid, but I can't pass properly with both feet, but I can just only intercept. I don't like that. I want, you know what I mean? I don't like it, personally.
I look at it as the tactical side of things. Look, the football evolves, football changes. I don't like how if you don't play that way or you decide that that's not your philosophy, like that's a bad thing. I've never understood that. You know, like when Atletico Madrid used to get this all the time. They used to win football matches by playing ugly, by playing pragmatic, and you get people criticizing them. They're not playing football. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're playing football. You know, just because you should always set your team up the way that is the best way for you to win the match. Like if you go and play, for instance, Man City and play attacking football, you will lose. So why would you do that? And then when then people do get people behind the ball, like park the bus and all that kind of stuff, and then they win, they get criticized for it. They won a game. There's nothing wrong with that. What I really am struggling with at the moment is like the VAR and the technology, because I've never really had this before until like the last few weeks. And maybe it's just because United have been really sort of punished with VAR recently. But I am at the point now where I can't really celebrate a goal, you know, in the immediate.
Pause. Hold the fort. Hold the fort. Because VK has just gifted not 5, but 10 memberships he has just gifted. And he has gifted them to Simon McGill. He's gifted one to Manish. He's gifted one to Al Mack, Director of Football, Imran, Daz Sweets, Mark M. Bison. Good character, that, on Street Fighter. And some others that I may have missed. But everybody, Andreas as well.
Abs 92, yeah.
Yes, I think that is the 10.
Berserker.
Welcome. Oh, there you go. There you go. Welcome to the UV Members Club. And big up to man like VK, who has gifted
Perfect
those memberships.
timing as well, because
Yes.
there is a new episode out right now of UV Raw. Look at that. Perfect timing.
Exactly.
And now they can all enjoy that together.
Yeah, like Imran says, so you're saying a new UV Raw episode. Eyes. Yeah, just gone up. Just gone up. So big up to VK, as mods are bigging you up as well. You deserve all your flowers. Lots of W's in the chat there as well. So yes, remember the membership is alive and kicking and running. If you want to join, please do so. A lot of exclusive content. Actually, as well, to add to that, there is, which I'm going to put in the chat right now, you know, exclusive emojis, which I am using right now. There's Minna, there's Marcel, there's boy Kev, there's Marcel again, there's Fleck, there's Owen. You know, they're all there. I've just put them in the chat, so you get your exclusive emojis and you get your priority chat as well. So
I've put a request in for an emoji to Josh, and I'm still waiting. And I would say, Josh, if you're watching this, he's probably still asleep.
Yeah, he's a disgrace and cheat.
I think, well, he's
disgrace. That's what it is, a disgrace.
And the custom emoji that I want the Owen siren. I want the Owen siren in there. So for every time,
what's the Owen siren?
Well, we're kind of workshopping it a little bit. It's probably it's me with a siren on my head. Basically.
Oh, right, because you just always step in with receipts and just ready to
No, it's more just because for literally when the sirens are playing near me. And so then at the moment, I say sirens in the chat. Sirens in the chat, and then they have to put this sort of rubbish one in the chat, and I want a UV siren. That's what I want.
Okay, all right, fair play.
Joe Blackman says there as well, we want the Osylum, me in a straight jacket. That's good. Maybe if Josh can get a screen grab of me screaming Panenka with my veins bulging up my neck or something like that. Panenka, something like that.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. And that is Marcel in the Wario hat as well. People saying who is that? In
Marcel.
That is Marcel. I think he went for a period of predicting some things that were sort of on the verge. To be fair to him, he's far away from that now. Obviously with the home record, we won't lose a game at home. He started off with this year, which didn't
I like
work
that
out,
one.
so.
The one that I just put in there. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's that from? That's not from his fan views or something, isn't it?
No, that's from him eating watermelon on a train.
Oh yeah,
and offering it to strangers.
If you haven't seen that, you've go back and watch that one.
Try it. And someone has it. And he goes, how is it? It's juicy. Oh my god. Oh my god.
There you go. Honestly, Marcel just always doing stuff. Must-win week, Champions League return. It is a big week, though, Owen. We've had a bit of fun in the middle of the show. You know what I mean? It's a must-win week because for all the things that you were saying, you brought a few, facts and figures to the table, which, we dissected and said, yeah, you got a point here and you got a point there. But like you said, lose against Copenhagen, we are always feeling like we are one game away from crisis. And actually, if we do lose to Copenhagen, we are not going to go through to the next round of the Champions League next phase.
Well, I had someone get very angry with me the other day about this. I said if we lose her out, and someone said you can't do maths, you idiot.
Wow.
And that's because they said Newcastle once went through with 9 points, and I went, well, last time Newcastle won the Champions 20 years ago, so we were referring on a 20-year precedent or whatever. Most of the time, isn't it? It's 10. You need about 10 points to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that maybe with the way this group is laying out, because Bayern got to play Galatasaray or whatever, but still, you do get the impression if we were to lose on Wednesday, like that's a stun. I mean, What do you think? Have you given it much thought? Because I'm of the mindset, really, because we won, I didn't even want to think about Wednesday that much.
No,
for the last few days. I wanted just to enjoy it a bit. But now, obviously, look, attention will turn to it.
Turn to that, mate.
It's going to be a press conference and that tomorrow, So they'll be traveling out there tomorrow, one would think, right? Because that's what they usually do. They travel out there, and the press conference will probably be late, actually. It'll probably be at like 6 or something, probably, right?
No, there's the game's on Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, so they'll probably.
Today's Monday. Yeah.
So they'll probably be the press conference will probably be like sort of later tomorrow. So we're gonna have to start thinking about it eventually. But what do you think?
Well, I am. As people have said in the last couple of weeks, I'll admit I've been a bit flip-floppish. I have, just because I've been so emotional. I can admit that. I can, because I was.
Well, it's last week before international break, so maybe a better question actually, because we got one more week of football and then no football for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
At the end of this week, what do you think the conversation will be around Ten Hag? Because if we win both games, obviously pressure will still be there, but it'll be like actually stabilized a bit. Won in the Champions League, won the Premier League. How do you envision the end of this week? What's the conversation going to be like?
I'm worried for Copenhagen. I have been the whole time. Obviously, before, when I was angry, I was like, forget it. I said we're going to lose 1-0 against Fulham, and we ain't beating Copenhagen. We're going to go out of Champions League. That's where I was at.
Has that changed now?
Like I said, a little bit. I think we can.
So what you're saying is,
I feel sick. That's how
I
do. I feel sick.
I do, because we can like how we beat Fulham, we can do that against Copenhagen, I think. However, away from home, Champions League, crowds up, they'll be quite confident because of how they played for large parts against us, to be fair.
Who's better, Copenhagen or Fulham?
From what I saw, the way Copenhagen knock it about, I'd probably say them. But the effectiveness of Fulham, if they are in a decent gear and, they're doing all right, Decordova-Reid, Andreas, Paulinia, Willian still handy. They don't have a striker at the minute, not one that can score. Robinson goes forward quite a lot. Timothy Castanha's not terrible. They're about par, probably.
Copenhagen's the better atmosphere. It's the tougher place to go.
Yeah, tougher. Oh, definitely. But in terms of man for man, You know what I mean?
Quality.
They're probably about the same. But yeah, in terms of the atmosphere and what's riding on the game, of course, it will make it more intense to have to go away and play them than going to Craven Cottage. And that is the truth. So, and that's why I'm worried. It's a different thing. It's a different atmosphere. We saw what the Copenhagen fans done even in Old Trafford. So we are capable of having any. I know this don't really help, but we're literally capable of having any free result. You know, we could easily lose that. We could easily draw, and we could easily just nick it uninspiringly, which I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with we just nick it. We need a bit of positivity, man. But
it says
I'm
a
not
lot.
confident.
It does say a lot about where we are. The fact that when we got drawn that group, I think we were relatively happy with it. And we are struggling through to the point where we're going Copenhagen away. We're going, not a given.
And that was the team where we said they're probably the worst in the group. When it came out, we're saying, right, you got to be beating them home and away. And obviously Galatasaray away, even when the groups came out, we went, that away is going to be hard, but we have to beat them home. Didn't. And then obviously we know about Bayern. So, yeah, it's... honestly...
We still need to be near enough perfect. Like I said, we need to be near enough perfect for the remainder of the Champions League. So that includes a win at Copenhagen, a win at Galatasaray, and then probably, again, depending on how the group pans out, but probably a point against Bayern. Probably. And that's a bit... I know by that point, Bayern could be comfortably through. They might rest and rotate. But I tell you what, they ripped Dortmund apart at the weekend. Yeah?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Harry Kane.
I think has he got the record for most goals after how many games he's played or something in the Bundesliga? But he's rubbish flex. There's no salon value and there's British bias when it comes to Harry Kane. Some of the thing, and look, I'm not going to do revisionist history and said that we realistically had a shot at getting Harry Kane because Spurs were never sold to us, right? So I'm not going to go that too far. I still think we could have maybe put an offer just to see what happens.
Yeah,
because if that offer's on the table, maybe he would have changed his mind. But some of the discussion around him in the summer, that
he won't be good enough. There's no point getting a 30-year-old striker.
It's just madness again. And I'm not going, we were going to get Harry Kane because I still don't think we would have. But I still, some of those things, there's no salon value. Saying he's one of the best strikers in the world, that's British bias, English bias. What's he ever won? You know, because he's at Spurs and all this kind of stuff. And even now, some people say, Spurs are better off without him. Look, maybe they are. I don't know. But there's no doubting his quality. Like, you just can't. You can't doubt his quality.
Meanwhile, we've got a young kid, and I'm not dissing him, but, you know, he needs a lot of time, a lot of nurturing. Do you know what I mean? A lot of help and support.
Although,
and can't get a goal right now.
If Harry Kane went to Man United, and he was there now, the conversations would be, the questions would be that he's a flop because there's no chances created for him. So he'd be like, he's failed, another wasted transfer. So maybe it was best for him that one didn't work out.
All the top players, like it was best for Bellingham to never come here. Like all the top players, it's best for their career to just not come here. It is. It's a graveyard right now until we can sort ourselves out. Same with bloody Kobe Mainu, man. I really want him to grow and like start coming in, but coming into this is like, it's not going to help him. Even Man United in general. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want him to be ours and, do you know what I mean, be the guy for us. But it's like, is he really going to be able to do that under this failed club that just ruin everybody? Probably not. Probably not. Shaw return date as well. A little bit, obviously, Transfer Insider on Twitter. He's an in the know account. Been posting a lot of stuff. I know
United Insider.
Yeah, United Insider. Obviously, I think the club might have been a bit angry. Got his account suspended at one point, but he's back. I have been in contact with him actually on a personal, so that's good to see. You know, he's always saying stuff. So and hasn't really missed with a lot. You know, it's not our thing. We're never going to be a channel that has all this inside stuff or in the know thing. And, you know, it's not really for us as a fan channel. That's not really what we're into. We leave it to others who that's what their thing's going to be. Because also, you know, you can't be, for me personally, I wouldn't want us to be sort of like moaning about the leaks or this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
and then we're just out there leaking everything.
Yeah, that's something.
And then when people moan at you, you cry.
I did see with that account is I think it was for the Bayern game, put out some team news, and then after that they said, I don't want to do that anymore because, like you said, like if that feels counterproductive, isn't it? I always feel a bit uncomfortable, like for instance, you'll see this on any of our sort of social media channels and stuff like that. Like team news will come out when team news comes out as like the actual official time. Like whenever it's like, you know, even if it's 20 minutes, half an hour before, or an hour before, it's kind of like, I understand the leaks are there, but they're still, from my opinion anyways, like a responsibility to signal boost them or not. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, then if you do, then you can't complain about them. And go, you know, oh, the leaks are terrible.
Yeah,
But
if you want, like, again, it's what you want a fan channel to be, isn't it? If you want to be everything and have the latest news, not the latest news, that's our job, but like be first to like stuff that maybe would be not what a fan channel normally does, and just get exclusives and stuff, then that's great. But when the scrutiny comes back because you're at that level, you can't cry. And yeah, so you know, it swings and roundabouts, really, isn't it? Like, yeah, the team news one, I'm just quite happy to get the team news the hour before the thing. I'm not really like, I need to know who's starting before, and like, do you know what I mean? Some people like it, some people don't. Really, that's it, really. But yeah, United Insider was sort of suggesting that Luke Shaw could be back for the Everton game. Is that after the national break, isn't it?
Yeah. Which, to be fair, was always on for what they kind of said. They did say after November international break, Shaw will be back. And I've seen a lot of people saying that actually Luke Shaw being available again might make a massive difference to Marcus Rashford. Do you think he's the key to unlocking that door? Or is Rashford just way off it?
Yeah, I'd probably say the latter. But everything helps. Every little helps. Every 1%, you know what I mean, helps. Every player who should be starting coming back helps. It does. I'm not going to say it doesn't. So, but I'll probably say the latter on that. But yeah, if you are into, you know, all the inside information, you know, up to, you know, inside stuff, do follow Inside United Insider. Is it?
Yeah, United Insider.
Yeah. Do follow that account on Twitter. Then they'll have you covered for anything like that. And yeah, I just feel like this week is again, before every international break, before every batch of games, we say season defining. Have to win
every week.
Every week it's the same. Every week it's the same. So yeah. But listen, great show, big show.
Couple of super chats you missed, by the way. I think
and there is. I'm going to do that right now. David G says, do you feel the days? Oh no, I've read that one. Ali Lopez is the latest member of UV Members Club as well. Big up to Ali. Well done, you. And Lil Yo-Yo says, Fleck judges, call it air. Banks of 4, mate. Yeah, exactly. And of course, VK obviously gifted those 10 memberships as well. We're just under 300 likes on the way out the door. See if we can get to 400, 500 on the way out, if you've forgotten. Big show. What have we got coming up? We've got an evening show later on tonight, so don't miss that.
Tactical view.
Yes, exactly. And also tomorrow, going into tomorrow, obviously, we'll have the press conference. We'll have a morning show again. And obviously Wednesday's match day as well. So yeah, it's all going off. Smash the like on this video. Subscribe to UV if you haven't done so already. And again, like we've said throughout the whole show, if you'd like to join the membership, please do so by joining the membership button below. A lot of perks there as well. Take care, guys. We'll see you again soon. Peace.